guys, welcome to a novel affair.
The Bookish podcast where we kiss and tell about our torrid affairs with fictional characters.
So grab a drink and get ready for some pure, unadulterated fun.
Today we are covering Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I cannot wait to get your reaction to this. Um, I want to talk a little bit about the author because I feel like this is a really interesting uh, person, a little interesting tidbit, and this is not an author I had heard of before we started doing this book. Um, but I had heard about this book on Book Talk and actually saw it on Goodreads quite a bit, and so that's what piqued my interest. And um, First of all, she was originally from Italy,
I don't
which is
know that.
cool. And I think she lived in like Germany and Japan. And I don't know why, like if she was a military brat or what, but originally from
Yeah,
Italy. And she ended up moving to the US to pursue a PhD in neuroscience.
I could tell by the writing that she had a background in science.
And apparently, I'm pretty sure it says on her Goodreads that she's known for writing her characters in STEM fields. Like she's very like pro that. But like
I like it.
she was a professor for 3 years, and then in 2022 she like lived our absolute dream, and she quit to write full time and just be an author.
Nice. I
So
mean, that's the dream.
I it's absolutely the dream. So good for her. Um, but she actually this is her first fantasy paranormal book. All of her other books are contemporary romance. So I want
This book.
your very first like out of the gate knee jerk reaction.
Ah, it's not a simple answer. This type of book is very it's new to us, but it's not. Like we read fantasy.
Mhm.
We're into like the werewolf stuff, but
Yep.
there are some things in this book that are very new.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that that was exactly why I chose this book, because this is a type of fantasy that I haven't delved into a lot, but I think
Yeah.
it's a fun way to like try some new tropes and experience some new things. Um, but first of all, this is something that I noted about the book. It being there are a ton of the almost required fantasy tropes in this book. So the premise is it's an interspecies arranged marriage between political enemies, essentially. And that's
Yeah.
like the super basic simplification. Um, the female main character's name is Misery, which I related to and then simultaneously felt bad for her because, like, that's a rough name.
Yeah.
As a
And it's not I liked that it
character,
wasn't just a random name the author threw in there to be unique, but like it was for a reason that the character was named that
yeah,
in the book.
yeah,
I liked that.
yeah. So she has the asshole father, which I feel like is a very common trope. There's
Yes.
usually one authority figure that's just a major asshole. She's got the irreverent humor brother who pretends like he doesn't care about anything, but he totally does. And
Mm.
then her long lost human BFF. So
I mean,
already,
it's the cliche,
yeah. So
all the cliches.
I felt like that was just worth noting right out of the gate. But I felt like, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is an Omegaverse. It's in modern time period. The location is kind of vague. Like when it in the beginning, it talks about these like southwest regions or whatever, which doesn't feel
Yeah.
familiar. But then they go to California and they talk about Europe. So I don't know. It was vague.
I'm completely unclear on where they are,
Yeah.
and I have no idea why the author would do that.
Um,
If you're going to reference other states and countries,
it was a little.
maybe.
It stuck out to me, and
Yeah,
honestly, I think she just didn't want to commit to a location. That's the only thing I can think of. But
maybe, but I mean, if you're writing a book, you have to commit to. If you're going to mention locations, you need to commit to the
yeah,
location your whole
I
world is
agree.
based in.
I agree. Um, and the female main character is essentially a hacker, and I'm sure there's a more sophisticated way to say what she is, but yeah. But I felt
She is
like,
a, I think it's called a penetration tester. I actually think that's what it's called. That's not a joke. I'm fairly certain it's called a penetration tester or something along those lines,
yes.
but
I mean,
she
yes.
she's testing other people's software to see or
Imagine
other
getting
people's
paid for that
coding.
instead of just doing it for free. Okay. But I felt like the world building was quick and easy. Like, I didn't feel like we needed, to me, and I want your opinion as a maybe fantasy having been kind of heavy on the world building for you in the past. What did you think?
Oh, Crescent City, Jesus.
Right, which is like on a scale of 1 to 10, that's like a 11 to be fair.
I I don't know. Like I feel like there could have been things added to it.
Mhm.
I feel like it may have been just a little too simplistic, but I do like that it's not we're having to learn all these new terminologies and all these new places and how their system works and what their land looks like and but I feel like she still could have included a location. Like if you don't want to make all this up, just pick a
Yeah.
location that already exists that people are familiar with. That's fine too. But you got to commit to one or the other. You can't be in this limbo area with it.
Yeah. It was a little here and there. So before we share our reviews, I want to get into a few of there was some really funny reviews on Goodreads and Amazon, and I want to share this one first because you literally said these words just a few minutes ago.
God.
But this was a 2-star review on Goodreads, and it just said, "This was not it, KNOT."
I saw that one when I was looking at them. That's I didn't even realize that I had said the same thing she did.
You totally did, and
But it is so not
hilarious.
it. Emphasis on not, okay?
um,
So I have one, and I, when I was talking about this specific scene that gave me the ick, this is how I felt when I read that line. And the title of her review says, Not KNOT is now a trigger for me. 2.5 rounded up. Pro, author is a talented writer. Con, I suffer PTSD every time I hear the word not. That was me when I read that line that gave
yeah,
me the ick. I could not do it.
you were scarred. Okay, so my next one is something that I saw a lot in the comments, and I have to say that it's kind of perfect. And it just says, OMG, a Jacob Renesmee fanfic.
Oh my god. That's exactly
And
it.
I was like,
Yep.
yeah, pretty much. Good call. Good
Yeah.
call.
Minus the disturbing age gap.
Yes. Yes. That's like a whole other ball of wax.
Yeah. So my next one is titled Naughty, Knotty.
Yes.
And she says, so bad it's kind of enjoyable. Therefore, it gets 2 stars instead of one. Taught me what a knot is, and I will never forgive the author for that.
Yes.
And I have to agree. That's exactly how I feel about this book. It was so bad, it was enjoyable.
You know what? I think that's fair. I think that's not even a bad take. And so this next review actually is kind of that same opinion, I think. The title of the review is Renesmee fanfic goes crazy, okay? Which,
Oh my god.
again, but the actual review says, was it a little cringe? Yes. Did I read it all in one day? Also, yes.
That was me. I read it in the whole day. Oh Lord. So this one does not have a title. It's just a 1 star review and says what pad werewolf book vibes. Yeah, accurate.
Okay, I have one that I'm not even gonna read all of because it's kind of too like long. The the title is what got me. Okay, it says fantasy romance or with dogs fetish.
Oh.
And in the review, it says, what I don't understand is why books with spies have gotten so weird. Do we really need to read about a man's penis that knots like a dog's while they have sexy time?
She's coming after some people's trope. Oh.
Oh, and it just, it was just funny.
Okay. This may be something that gets cut, but there's always like that. I don't. It's not really a saying, but like it's kind of common knowledge that like the longer a guy watches, the weirder it gets because they start getting bored of what they are watching.
Yes.
That is women with their smut books. Okay,
That's
you
so
tip
valid.
your toes. You tip your toes into like some Colleen Hoover here, and then suddenly you're going into the fantasy realm. Now we're getting into dark romance. Now we're getting into some tentacle monster alien.
Ice
And
Planet
here we are.
Barbarians. Yes.
Here we are, the two of us, moving past your traditional cliche romance, our fantasy. We dove headfirst into some really, really dark romances. And now we are so desensitized that we're like, yeah, let's try knotting one.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we're at. Where are we going, Tara? We're
to hell if we don't change our ways.
I'm just wondering how far this is gonna go.
So, yes, this next review also, I think, is very similar to your reaction. She says, cannot believe that final scene was a real thing I read with my eyeballs.
I'm telling you, it had to be that line. I guarantee that's why she said that. That line is just gross.
She did follow that up with, not even close to the worst thing I've read, though.
I mean, yeah, fair. So this one is a 5-star review, and it says, um, yeah, that's gonna be a 4.5 star for me. This was so fucking and fantastic. Turns out all that's missing from my contemporary romance for me is mythical creatures. Wee! Loved it. I was like, that's cute.
Yes. So here is a review that was on the, because I found that the reactions were very love it or hated it. Like there was not
Yes.
a lot of in between. And here was one that like they loved it, but they also like knew what they were loving. And it's a 5-star review and it says, "Look, don't ask me why. Don't ask me how. I will not be explaining this rating. It was so good."
And that's you. We found
That's
Tara.
me. Yeah, here I am. I found my people.
This one is a 5-star review. And honestly, I felt this way too at this part, but she said it says, "Lo, my wife," in quotes. Me. Bark, bark, bark. Oh,
Yes.
oh my God. I laughed so hard because I was like, yeah. I turned into a
Oh,
dog real quick.
yeah. Yes. That's
There's just
okay.
something so claiming about it.
That's so perfect because the next
Yeah.
review I was gonna read, it's a 5-star review, and it says, "Who would be sick enough to want to like a wolf?" Cough.
He's not in wolf form, though.
Yes, yes, but still, obviously, me.
So this one reminds me of one you read a second ago, but it's a 1-star rating, which confused me because of their review.
Mm-hmm.
She says, "Well, dot dot dot. I learned something new. If you know, you know. Literary masterpiece? Question mark? Absolutely not. But did I have a good time? Absolutely."
Yes, yes, I super felt that. I super felt that. I found a review that I disagree with it, but the way that they said it was so funny that I had to share. It's a 1-star review, and it says, "You know how food tastes bland when you forget to add salt to it? This is the book equivalent of that."
Oh, shit.
I was like, ouch.
Oof. That's a burn.
Tis.
I'll say this is not the worst book that I have ever read. Like I didn't find it boring.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can at least say that. So my last review that I have is literally it's a 1-star review and all they said was, "Brother, ew." In my head when I read it in the voice of the meme.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brother, ew.
So I'm not even going to read this whole one because it's kind of long, but this
Some
is
of those
just
were extremely long.
like the
Like,
this book did not warrant a full dissertation. It just didn't.
I mean, granted, what did we just do, Tara? If you make that comment, what is the what is the purpose of us right now?
We made as many not puns as possible. That's what we did.
I feel like this not pun war is going to follow us into our real lives.
Probably.
I have a feeling this is going to be like some weird inside joke between us. And our husbands are going to be very confused.
I mean, fair. Um, this is my actually. I changed my mind. I'm gonna read a different one than the other one because it's kind of involved. But this one is also funny.
Let's have it.
Here's the entire review. Woof woof woof, bark bark, ow! The end.
Oh my God. I love it.
Thank God for people
The
on
articulation. The articulation. Just congrats. Loved it.
That's a true critic right there.
I'm really concerned for Jesse to edit this one. I may need to leave the house.
He's gonna need therapy
while he does this.
After this.
I feel like we're gonna need couples therapy after this.
Oh, I don't think he's ready for any of the things that I just shared about myself. So that's gonna be a fun Discord message.
He has not been prepared for any of the conversations we have had. The whole BJ conversation from Sky and Breath. Oh my God, I thought he was going to have an aneurysm. He was like, no. I don't need to know this. No. I was like, you knew what you signed up for, buddy.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so let's get into our reviews.
Okay.
So I graded on a curve, okay? I feel like my rating is going to be really similar to yours last week, where you were like, I was looking at it more
like
switch. A novella. Yeah. This was a guilty pleasure Little Debbie Cake book for me. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I totally went into it for. I wanted to actually like see this new trope for us and I don't know, just have a little fun. So my overall rating was an 8 out of 10 because I thought it was like short, sweet, to the point.
You got what you came here for.
Yeah, and it took me out of like the regular day-to-day. So I was not mad about it. What about you? What was your overall rating?
My overall rating is, I'm going to say like a 5.5 to a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
Between the two.
Yeah. I mean, that's not terrible.
It's not the like worst book that I've ever read. It's really not. Like, I know I've joked about it a lot throughout all of this, but there's way worse books out there that I did read, and I don't know why I didn't not finish them. Like, they were definitely do not finishes, but I still finished. So
that's fair.
What did you rate it for content?
So content, I actually rated it a 7 out of 10. I feel like there could have been more to the plot, more to what all was going on. I do think though that for it to have been, 300-400 pages, I think there wasn't enough like room space for it to go more, but I do think it kind of skimmed across the surface quite a bit.
Yeah. For content, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed the plot. I mean, we weren't coming to this book for the plot. So
no,
for it to be what it was, I felt like the plot was actually pretty good. There's been other books that I read that were like novellas like this, where you're coming here pretty much just for the smut.
Yeah.
And there was really no plot at all to those books. This one actually did include like a sequence of events and a goal they were working towards, and I give it an 8 out of 10. I couldn't put the book down,
Yeah. I mean,
which
valid.
surprised me with how much my other ratings are so low. This was the pretty much whole reason was because I wanted to know where Serena was. I wanted to know who the bad guys were, what was
Yeah,
going on. I wanted to see everything get resolved, and the writing or the plot was good enough that it kept me intrigued. That's why I
fair.
give it an 8 out of 10.
So what about spice?
I'm giving Spice a 7 out of 10.
That's
The which guys, okay, if you've made it this far into the podcast and you've watched the other ones, we understand that Destiny needs pickles, okay? That the pickles need to go inside the hidey holes for me to like get full satisfaction out of the smut, okay? This was not the case in this book. I actually enjoyed the like antagonistic lead ups better than I did the actual smut. And no, it
well,
had
well,
nothing to do with
well.
the nodding trope.
Yeah,
It had
it
nothing to
was.
do with the nodding trope. It had to do with the writing. So
So,
I'm eating
looky
my words right
there.
now.
Looky there. Well, for Spice, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I didn't have like the ick situation that you did. Nothing in it really bothered me a lot. Um, and it was something new, and I happened to really enjoy it. And I guess I'm a nodding fan now.
You're so naughty.
I am a naughty.
Oh god. They're gonna have to put me in the penitentiary.
No, no, ma'am. Okay, then romance.
Romance, I give a 7 out of 10. I liked their dynamic, but towards the end, when they were actually starting to like become more intimate, his character changed a lot, and I didn't like what it changed into. It felt less romantic at that point. So 7 out of 10 for me.
I'm I'm gonna be boring, but 8 out of 10. It gave me what I wanted. There wasn't a lot of like there wasn't too much push pull run around to where I felt like it was like just get over it already and give in to the chemistry. I feel like it progressed. It was well paced in terms of the romance. Um, was it like earth shattering? Like made me
Eat your heart out.
yeah, like no, it didn't give me any of that. But again, this is me kind of grading on a curve because
Yeah,
yeah,
we weren't here for all of that.
I really wasn't.
So what did you rate the writing?
So I originally think I would have rated it higher, but I think you made some good points, some things that I think I was not paying attention to. So I think I would say 7 out of 10 on the writing. I think because I think her regular writing may be way
Mhm.
higher, but I think that she did kind of show that she's new to this genre and maybe a lack of confidence there,
Yeah,
and even like not going straight into like the trope that I'm sure everybody was here for and being like
yeah,
afraid of it. I think that was an indication of that.
yeah. I give it a 5 out of 10 for that exact same reason. Her lack of confidence in herself came out in her characters and not just in the nodding scenes, but throughout the whole book.
Hmm.
There were just it, there wasn't enough strong writing, enough confidence in her writing for this genre,
Yeah.
which she's new at it. I mean, cut her a little slack, but 5 out of 10 for me on the writing. It just it I liked the plot. That's really the only thing I liked about this book. There was some good humor, which is what saves her writing rating because
Yeah.
the humor was great.
Yeah, the humor, I love the dry humor. It was good. It was
And
needed.
I loved most of the dialogue. I just didn't like the dialogue during the smutty scenes
That's important. It's an important part of the dialogue.
because that's why
Um,
I'm here.
the characters, I gave an 8 out of 10. I really did like all the characters. The bad guy was bad guy enough for me. I really liked the main character. I really liked Anna. I really liked Alex. Like there was some supporting characters that I felt like gave it some good color. Um, what about you?
Give it a 6 out of 10 for characters. I really only liked the main female character. I liked Anna, but we don't
Mm-hmm.
get a whole lot of her throughout the book. I
Yeah,
liked Serena, but we only got her for a few chapters.
barely any.
Yeah. Alex was okay. Doesn't make sense why he suddenly went from being absolutely mortified of her to suddenly like not afraid of her at all. That
I mean, that's
confused me, like
valid.
what exactly changed, but I digress. The main male character is why I'm here, and by the end of it, he just
And
seemed
he was not doing it for you.
no, he seemed like a whiny young 20-year-old with somehow a god complex and insecurities at the same time. Like it he started off so strong, and by the end I was ugh. And again, none of this has to do with the nodding trope. Like
Yeah.
I'd be willing to try it again with better writing. That's a wrap for this episode. As always, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our take on this very extremely steamy book. And we will see y'all next week on A Novel Affair.
When we will be discussing our next naughty book, Satan's Affair by H.D. Carlton, which I don't think, in fact, has nodding in it.
I cannot believe you just added a naughty joke. I'm telling you, this is going to follow us for eternity. It's going to be out on the internet. We're never going to live this down.
Ever.
But don't forget to head over to our podcast to hear our uncensored, in depth conversation about this spicy book and many others. You can find that link in the comments.
Be sure to like and follow us on social media and hit that subscribe button before you go. We'll see y'all soon.